Alright, so let's get started. First I'm going to prime. I'm going to use my go-to primer, one that never fails me, the YSL. This is the Blur primer. And I cocktail my primers nowadays. I'm going to also use the YSL Instant Matte Primer in my T-zone. I was testing out new skincare, so my face is a little irritated. So hopefully I could conceal and cover all of that irritation and my breakouts and my dark spots. I'm going to clean up under the brow with concealer. Because my brows have been microbladed, I don't have to fill them in, thank goodness. Saves me a lot of time. Alright, so for foundation, I'm going to go in with like one of my favorite brands. I switched between two of their formulas, but today, since I'm aiming for longevity, I want to use the Nars Natural Radiant Longwear. And this foundation, I think it's kind of like the shade match. I mixed Tahoe with Moorea, and it's just become the perfect shade match for my summer skin tone. One is more of a neutral golden and one is a golden olive, and it is such a great combination. So I mixed the two for foundation, but I'm also going to apply a little bit of foundation on the top of the brow just to clean that up, and I don't want it highlighted, so I don't want to use the concealer. To apply my foundation, I like to go in with a brush. This is the Morphe E44, so a dense foundation brush. This one's super soft. I own a few of these. I think they're really great quality for the price point as well. So I'll go in with the brush first, and then I'll go in with the Beauty Blender. Take the remainder of the product, just add a little bit to the Beauty Blender and press it into the skin. And this just assures that you have a flawless base and that your coverage is even. Even when I'm wearing fuller coverage, I still don't want it to sit on top of the skin. I want everything to look like it is melted into the skin. And for concealer under the eye, I'm going to go back into the shade I used for the brow bone. It's going to be the Kevyn XS11. And I'm going to conceal under the eye, and then I'm also going to conceal on the sides of the nose and down the bridge of the nose. And then I'll blend that out. This concealer is full coverage. Like the fullest coverage you can get. So you don't need a lot. And I just used a Chanel concealer brush to apply it. You can use any concealer brush. So now I'm going to take a Beauty Blender and blend this out. I also brought this concealer over the eyelid, and that's just going to assure that everything is blended before we go in with shadow. So I put together this palette a while ago, and it's some of my favorite cream highlight and contour shades all mixed up in one spot, so I don't have to pull out a bunch of products. And I typically mix a few shades for the contour color depending on how I feel. Today I'm going to mix the MAC Pro Sculpt Cream and Copper Beech, which I believe is discontinued, with the Laurent Mercier Flawless Contour. And it just gives me a nice balance. It's not too warm, it's not too cool. I'm going to take the same contour color on my nose and very lightly with this MAC 275 brush and blend that out. So to set my under eye, I'm going to use a powdered foundation from Makeup Forever. I mixed the shade 405 with 375. And I put together this little palette with a bunch of my favorite highlight and contour shades. But this is what I'm going to put under my eye. And this powder just really gives you a flawlessly smooth under eye. To set the rest of my face, I'm going to take this MAC Mineralize Skinfinish powder. I use the shade Dark. I also have these in a palette. And I'm going to take the shade Dark here and use that to set the rest of my face. And I'm not applying a generous amount of this powder. I'm just using it to take that dewiness away from the foundation. So to add a little bit more depth to the skin, I'm going to bronze over where we contoured and bronze the face a little bit. For that, I'm going to use another Mineralized Skin Finish, but this time it's the shade Dark Deep. I'm going to take that on this angled brush. This is a Morphe E4. So I'm gonna prime my eyelids. Right now I've been enjoying mixing this P. Louise base. I have the shade number 5, Rumour number 5, with this Anastasia primer. I got the mini because I was testing it out and I think I like it. And I'm using that same Japanese brush from earlier. So I'm gonna lightly set the eyeshadow lid primer with a translucent powder. I'm gonna use the Huda Beauty loose powder in Kunafa. I'm gonna concentrate this powder where I need to set, and I'm gonna lightly press it into the skin. So that's kind of the perimeter of the eye and the brow bone. I'm gonna also take some of this loose powder on a beauty blender and I'm gonna bake under the eye. Also the sides of the nose. Okay, so moving right into the eyes, what I've been waiting on. I did not set my eyelids with translucent powder because I want the eyeshadow that I place on the lid to be as vibrant as possible. So I want it to stick directly to that base. So I'm just gonna press out these creases. And I'm gonna go straight in with that lid color first. So the lid color I'm going to use is this pink shade here, and it's called Cherry Topped by MAC. I'm going to go in directly with the MAC 239 brush and apply that to the lid. Okay, so next I'm going to go in and start to build up the crease. I'm going to go in first with the Morphe shade in Secure. It's this orangey brown shade. I'm going to take the MAC 217 brush. Next, with the MAC 224 brush, I'm going to go in with the shade Uninterrupted. This is like my go-to blending shade. I want to blend shadow into my skin tone. I'm going to go back into that orange shade, which is the Secure, and build up that intensity. Alright, so next I'm going to go in with this purple shade from MAC. It's called Power to the Purple. It is this dark but vibrant purple, and I want to use that to kind of define the crease a little bit. So I'm going to go in with the Morphe M507 brush. Love this brush. And I'm going to use that color on the tip of the brush first, just to place it. I'm going to go back into that coral shade. I'm gonna mix the Morphe color in Thief with the MAC. This is actually a blush in the shade Saucy Miss. I'm gonna go right over that purple. Go back into that coral shade. And I'm just meshing the colors together. Alright, so now I'm going to just reinforce that lid color. So I'm going to go back on this first lid brush, the MAC 239. I'm going to spritz it this time with some Fix Plus. So on the lower lash line, I'm going to use the same shadows, the 3 that I used in the crease, or the 3 that I ended up with in the crease. And I'm going to use that to define the lower lash line. I'm not going to use that pink, the lid shade, but just the crease shades. I'm going to go in with that coral shade first. Use that to connect. I'm going to take that cranberry and fuchsia shade with this Morphe M432 brush and tightly add that to the lash line. Next, I'm going to remove that baking powder, that loose powder. I'm going to dust it away. Alright, so I applied my lashes and mascara off camera, and now I'm going to go in with blush. I always apply a lot of blush so that that tone is there, but I'm going to press it into the skin so that it's not as vibrant. Lastly, for the face, I'm going to take this Hourglass powder and I'm going to apply it underneath my eyes. And it's a radiant powder. It has a shift to it, so it'll kind of give me a glow without highlighting. Alright, so for the lips, I'm going to go in with this ColourPop lip pencil in BFF3. I haven't used this pencil before, but it swatches as a warm brown, and that's what I like. So then I'm going to go in with this Kylie Cosmetics lipstick in High Maintenance. It's a nudie pink. And I'm going to kind of lightly go in with this color. I don't want it too opaque. And I'm going to blend it right into this liner. So lastly, I'm going to top my lips off with this gloss. This is the Dior gloss in Glitz. It is amazing. These glosses are a splurge, but they are worth it.